Hi, I'm going to show you how to do a mail merge using Google Sheets and Gmail with an Axiom bot. Now, you could start from the template just over there on our website, Axiom.ai/templates, or you could literally follow this video and you'll be able to build the bot yourself. Okay, let's dive in. Briefly, before we get going and I show you the bot in action, I'm going to just talk about what we're going to cover off in this video. I'm going to show you how to set up your Google Sheet, how to configure this template. I'm going to walk it through step by step so you have the confidence to build this template or build any bot yourself. And I'm going to teach you a bit of troubleshooting to improve your bot building skills. Okay, before we do all of that though, let's just show you the bot in action. So I'm going to tab into the next tab into the Google Sheets on screen, and here you can just see in the background I've got my email address and my name repeated row by row. That's how you set up the sheet. More about that in a minute. And we're just going to have a bot loop through each row, sending a message to each of the people in that list. Let's pretend the list is varied for now. This is just a demo. Then the bot's going to open up Google Sheets and it's going to click the compose button, much like I would as a human being. It's going to click compose, it's going to type in the email, type in the text. That's how bots work, that's how Axiom works. It automates your actions in the browser. So it literally is going to replicate the steps you do to create an email and send it. Okay, so that's a brief description of what the bot's going to do. Without further ado, let's watch it in action. Let's see some of the magic. I'm going to click run. The desktop runner will open and Axiom is launching. It's basically reading the data as we speak, reading the data from, let me just open the desktop tab back there, reading the data from the sheet. It's gone into Gmail. You can see it's adding the email, the subject, it's personalized the message. It's not going to click send because I've got send disabled because this is a demo. Now it's just going to loop round to the next row and it's going to keep looping round until it gets to the bottom of that list. So that's pretty exciting because I'm doing all the talking, my hands are waving around here. A bot is literally running your apps in the browser for you, saving you time and money. That is just so cool. I love bots. Okay, so we can see the magic, but let's show you how to set this template up now. So to set this template up, just visit Axiom.ai/templates/ or if you're watching the video there, obviously you don't need to do that. And on the landing page, just click on Mail Merge and click on Install the template. If you want to give it a go if you want to give it a go building the bot from scratch, if you want to give that a shot, just keep following the video, add in the steps and replicate the structure of the bot and you'll do just fine. Okay, so let's say I've already got that bot installed. As you've seen, I've already run it. Let's open it up and let me just show you the configuration so you can get your bot up and running in a matter of minutes. So to configure the bot, first of all, we need to have our Google Sheet set up. And I've got a sheet open up here in the background. You can see in that sheet I've got two tabs. I've got email and sent. In sent, I'm going to record the users or the people we emailed just for my records. And then in email, I've got a column with column A with emails in, column B with a name in. I could also personalize this bot even further and I could have columns with text in with different subject lines in. But for the purpose of this demo and this template, we're going to keep it a little brief, a little bit shorter and a bit more to the point. Okay, so let's open up Axiom and let's configure the first step. What we want to do is set up the read step for this bot, for this merge bot. And you can see I can do that I've done it literally by just searching for the sheet I want to use. I can see it there, Gmail. Now I want to, in this first step, in this first read step, I want to choose the sheet or the tab with the email addresses and names in, and that was called email. Now, I only want this bot to loop through one row of data at a time until it gets to the bottom and then loop through a new row. So I'm going to set up first cell to A1 and last cell to AB1. And you can see in my preview, I've just got the single row but I've got the name and the email being passed through. That data is now ready to be shared in Axiom, so I can pass that data literally into the next part of the bot so I can manipulate it and use it to fill in the Gmail forms. But before I do that, we notice we've got the name field. They're all together in one cell. I need to split that into a first name because I want to use just the first name and not the surname. Our no code tool makes that really easy because I can just add a split name into column step. I can add the Google Sheet. Here you can see I get a choice of columns, clear all, select column B. Now, I can then just tick a few of the options until I get the desired result. That's column A, Alex, column row, Barlow. And that means I can literally just extract my first name now to use that to personalize the message later on in the bot. Next up, we've got this interact step. Interact step's interesting. If you don't know, quickly I'll explain. There are steps for automating the browser. They have a unique set of sub-steps. And those sub-steps do the clicking, the entering the text, operating select lists. That's why we've used the interact step, because we're now going to go into Gmail with the bot. Now, a cool thing I noticed with this when doing this bot is that you can actually go straight to a URL string. You see it's got the compose equals new, and that'll just bring up a new email. So we don't actually need to click the compose button. So we'll leave that URL in the template, so that will open up when you're running your bot. And you should straight away then see that the bot opens up with this compose window. Next up, we've got the enter text step. The enter text step passes the data obviously we read the data from the sheet. Axiom then we pass that data into the enter text step, the text we want to read. In this case, it's the email address, and I do that by clicking insert data and choosing the column with the email, in that case column A. So that's the data now being taken from the sheet into the enter text step, and then Axiom will pass it into the into the email field. I do that by selecting the text field like that. Cool. So that's the email setup. Next, I repeat that trick with subject. This time I'm just going to hard code my subject line in here, but you could set it up in the Google Sheet if you wanted, following the same concept you see here. And I select the subject. Got one more enter text step, and that's the message body. Now here you can see I typed in a very basic message. You can of course expand on that, but this is where I'm going to do a bit of personalization. I'm going to take the data from the split name step. I'm going to choose column A, clear all, because I just want the first name to go in there. So now I'm sending a personalized message, albeit to myself. Next, this disabled step. I've touched upon this when I was running the bot. It was disabled. The send step is disabled. So we've just disabled, for the purpose of this template, the send button here, so you can test it. And then when you're ready to use the bot, just re-enable it by doing this, clicking on the menu up in the top right hand corner of the step and press enable. And now that bot will click a button. If you have issues with that, just simply reselect it. Now you can do that and press complete. Okay, next up we've got a bit of wait step. That wait step is just there because we want to give Gmail enough time to say that this message has been sent before we loop around and do another action. Okay, you can probably mess around optimizing that and changing it to 500 if you want to. Next, the interact step is finished. We've done all the interactions we need to in Gmail to automate the sending of mail. What we want to do is tidy up a couple of things in the Google Sheet. What we want to do is write the data. We're just going to write the first row of data that we read back into the sent sheet, just so we can track what's been sent. Because if the bot gets all the way down to here without throwing an error, the message should have been sent. So it's sensible to put this here, and that sheet will basically be a list so you can track who's been emailed and who hasn't. Now we just need to insert the data here. That data should be the Gmail data. So just Google Sheet and just press save. Not the Gmail data, I mean the Google Sheet data. Now I've toggled this already on, but by default you should make sure this is set to add to existing data so it keeps adding a new row, otherwise it'll overwrite and you'll only see one result in the sheet at any time. Lastly, we're getting into how this bot loops now. So we don't use the loop here. We can just disable that. There will only be one single run through that in this first loop. What we do is loop down here with the jump step, and we do that by using this delete step before we do the jump. So we've got it set up to the Gmail. We delete row 1 and last row 1, and we do it from the sheet called email. So what the bot is essentially doing is the bot reads the first row, sends the message, then the bot deletes the first row and will jump back to the top, read the first new row, send the message, delete. And we can make that loop as many times as we want with this jump step, where we just tell the bot to jump back to step 1 because that's where we want the loop to start from. And we can tell it as many cycles as we want if we wanted to do. Worth remembering that one cycle down counts as one. So if you wanted to do 500 mail merges, for example, if you want to send 500 messages, you'd only need to do 499. So you can just put a number in there and then the bot will continue looping till it's finished, or there are no more rows in the sheet, at which point an error should be thrown and the bot will stop running. Cool. So that is how to set up the bot. If you wanted to build it yourself, literally start from blank, and then you start by adding a read step. Add your Google Sheet read step, set it up in the same way. You can then add a split name step. Then look for the interact step, that's the one for automating the browser. Add your interact step. Add the same sub steps to get your message, the bot to set up to send messages. Then you can just add your write and delete steps before you add your jump. Pretty much follow the same pattern or use the template. Cool, so that is the bot set up, all configured, and you're now ready to run your mail merge. Now, for argument's sake, let's say you get to running your mail merge and you have a few issues. Let me just talk you through what those possibly could be and how you can very quickly solve them. So one possibility is you're watching the bot, it's not typing the email address in, or the subject or the body, one of those text fields are missing. In that case, check that you've correctly inserted the data first and make sure you've chosen the right column of data. Simple as that. Now, if you then go through all the enter text steps and you've got the data coming from the sheet and you've inserted the variable into the fields inside those steps, if you've done that all and you know that should be working, the next thing to debug is whether the selectors have changed or something has changed on the site and it's not managing to find the text field. So in this example, what you do is you click on the select text field, and here we want to click on the email address. I'm just going to type in email here. It's another good practice to label your enter text steps just so you know what they are. So then you press in that instance where you know you've got the data because we can see it plugged in here, and you definitely know you've got some data in the sheet, it's not empty and you're reading from the right sheet. Then it could be that you do need to reset the selectors again. So you'd literally select text field, and we want to select the email field here in this case. So we would just do that and press complete. So just reset your selectors. The same method would apply to the send button, etc. And that should sort out those problems. Cool, that should be just about all the debugging you need to do or the problems you need to solve. Of course, make sure you've got your data coming in from the Google Sheet and you selected the right tab. One last thing you might want to check is just that you've got your first and last cell set up correctly as well. Cool. So that's the bots. That's how to configure this bot. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please click subscribe if you're interested in learning about how to build other bots. And do remember that you can use these skills that you would have picked up to build a bot to automate virtually any other task you do in the browser. So you could do it on different email platforms, or for example, if you use social media, you could automate all your posts on social media with Axiom. Okay, so keep on building bots and keep enjoying automating the browser. Thank you.